This is the Comics Alternative, on location at Collected Comics and Games in Plano, Texas. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Comics Alternative on location, and we are here at Collected Comics and Games in Plano, Texas. We have not been here for, what has it been, about 6 months?
It's been a while.
I think, yeah, the last time we were here was back in June, if I'm not mistaken. And then I came in for the August on location show, but you guys had, if I remember correctly, you had heating problems or cooling problems in that it was too hot.
It was gross.
And yeah, and so you suggested that we not do it for that reason. And then there were other problems with the shop, just the mechanics of the shop that next month. And then we just got out of the routine. And then there was a lot of change. You guys had a new store for a while, and then
we didn't.
Then you didn't. So I mean, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. And I think one of the changes between the last time we did this and this month, January, is Sabrina. Mm-hmm. You were the store's new manager. And you sound very enthusiastic about that.
Yay, go Sabrina.
I will do my best.
So how has your life changed since becoming manager of the Plano shop?
More stress.
Okay.
Yay.
Which should, be a given. But, yeah, that's about it.
Have you become shorter with customers now? Do they piss you off more?
No, they piss me off the same amount.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, cool.
No, they're fine. They're fine.
Well, and two of your customers are sitting here with us, and they're also two of the on-location regulars. And we have Matt and Craig. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fabulous, sir.
Doing fantastic.
Now, every now and again, I've messaged you guys on Facebook, but this is the first time I've really talked with you since this summer. So I hope that everyone's holiday season was really nice.
It was very busy, lots of shopping, and I didn't get any sleep whatsoever.
Sounds about normal. I spent my Christmas in my pajamas, so it was
I'm
awesome.
so envious of
So you were in your pajamas. You didn't get any sleep. So
Nope.
I see a motif going on here. Yeah.
I was just kind of like in the middle. It was we did some traveling for holidays, but it was all good and fun.
Okay.
I see a lot of family I haven't seen in a long time.
Did you sleep without your pajamas?
Well,
Yes,
I don't think
that
we
was
want to
it,
know
yes.
about that.
Yeah. Too much information, I guess.
Too much,
You have to
yeah.
go. Where did you go? Malaysia?
Oh, I did go to Singapore, which is close to Malaysia, to visit my brother, who's now working there.
Okay, so I was just asking you guys, what did you do over the holidays? And I did a little this and that. But you
humble.
completely forgot the
No, for
Singapore.
him, that's kind of regular, though.
Oh, well, I don't know if that's regular, but yeah, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting that I do crazy stuff sometimes to go visit family. That
Crazy
go to-
stuff is regular when it comes to Craig.
Crazy awesome stuff.
Crazy awesome stuff.
Okay, well, if I could, let me use the Singapore reference as a segue into what I wanted us to discuss on this month's On Location show, and that is kind of a theme of looking back and looking ahead. Looking back in terms of what did you guys consider some of the best comics of 2015? Because we didn't do a December show. That's when we usually talk about that stuff, so we can discuss this. But also, I want to talk about what you guys are looking forward to. And the reason I said something about Singapore as a segue, one of the texts that I'm really looking forward to, and I think it's going to be published in early March, is by a Singapore creator named Sonny Liu. I don't know if you have been reading Dr. Fate.
Yes.
Yes, he is the artist on Dr. Fate.
Oh, and he's fantastic.
Yes. And he has a new book coming out. It's going to be published by Pantheon. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name of this. I feel bad about this. The art of the art of Hak Chua, and it is. How do I put this without giving away what the book is really about? Because it's an interesting text in that way. It is. It's a biography. Let's just say this: a biography about a famous Singapore cartoonist who is the kind of the Will Eisner of Singapore, or the Tezuka of Singapore. But no one really knows about him. So that's what the book is about, and it comes out in the first part of March. So in fact, Sonny's going to be over here touring in early this spring, and I'm trying to get him to come to Dallas. I'm working with some administrators of mine at UT Dallas to see if we can get him on campus at a reading. I'm pretty sure we can, but I don't know the details yet.
Yeah, just kidnap him; it'll be fine.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one text that I'm looking forward to the coming year. So, so there's the segue. Let's get into the talk. What were some of your most memorable, notable, and favorite comics of last year?
Oh man,
I was trying to think of that, this whole week, because last year was so much of event seasons. It was like you had Secret Wars for Marvel, and you had Convergence for DC. It just seemed full of that. I was trying to think what individual issues I really, really liked from any comics.
Well, it's hard to. So much stuff has been coming out since April and March, since Secret Wars and Convergence, that it's hard to keep track of the number ones and things that actually started in 2015. Trying to think of anything off the top of my head, and the only... Well, with the all new, all different stuff that's been starting near the end of the year, from because you know how Secret Wars didn't exactly quote unquote end until just recently. Like I think it was last week. Yeah, the Secret Wars number 9 finally came out, and it finally ended. And you had all those answers finally, or questions finally answered. So it has all these number 1 issues coming out at the end of 2015, where we should have had those answers already, and we're like, what's going on? But things that really stood out to me, and it's for the number 1s for those, is the new Howard the Ducks and Squirrel Girl. They got reinvented.
Now, which new number 1? Because I think with both both of those titles you had number 1 issues in 2015.
Yeah, it's the volume 2s of each.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would be volume 1, because volume 0 is the pre-Secret Wars, which is, I guess everybody's very familiar with the new reinvention of Howard Duck being volume 0. I'm not sure how they're actually going to put that on the shelf or whatnot, if they're going to put 0 or 1 or 2 or however they're going to start that. It's very confusing, but I'm really liking the new characters that are being introduced in Howard the Duck, with the clones of certain characters being introduced, their backstories. It was very cute and tragic and everything you would love from Marvel, just Howard the Duck. And then Squirrel Girl, she gets a new costume, all new story with Doctor Doom, finally again. Her greatest nemesis. And then... Craig, what did you think? I can't think of... I mean, all I can think right now is, like, Secret Wars, and... I mean, I never even read any of that. Yeah, exactly.
What else? Just as individual issues, I was always a big fan of what they did. I like Lady Thor. I thought that was a really well done book.
Yeah,
right.
Jason Aaron's good.
And even though that Secret Wars kind of made that stop, which was unfortunate, but that one I really liked. I was trying to think of some Image titles that I've really enjoyed last week, and I'm drawing up a blank now.
Are you reading Paper Girls?
Paper Girls, yes.
Paper Girls is great. I love that book.
Thank you, Sabrina. I was like, I was drawing a blank and I couldn't think of anything. But yeah, Paper Girls has been really fun.
I like Paper Girls. I didn't include it as one of my top 10 of 2015 just because at the time that we did the show, we only had, I think, 2 issues, maybe a third had come out. So it was relatively new. Not enough was really under the belt for me to make an assessment. But it's interesting though that you mentioned Image, and they still do a lot of great stuff. But when we did our end of the year top 10 show, where both Andy and I chose 10, one of the things that was conspicuously absent on my list, and I think Andy's as well, but on mine I noted this, is really not much of anything in terms of Image. Not that I didn't like the Image stuff, it's just compared to the others, it didn't rise to the top. Although one of my top titles, I think, from Image last year was Invisible Republic. I really like that.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah,
that was really good. I enjoyed that one too.
What about did Descender start in 2015?
Yes,
so,
yeah. And I like Descender as well. And I don't know, I it didn't hit me in a way that I wanted to include it on my end of the year list. But I still
how
loved
many
it.
issues have you gone in?
2. See, that's just it.
It gets way better.
See, this is
Lots of build up.
if I look.
Slow ramp up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and we're joined by another friend of the show, and please, friend, I forgot your name.
No, it's fine. Nobody remembers my name.
So you're Mr. X.
Yeah, sure. Why not? No, I'm Chris.
Chris. Okay.
Yeah. I actually can't stay for terribly long, but I wanted to stop by and say hi.
Okay, pop in and tell us what you like from last year and what you're looking for this year.
I mean, I know you guys don't do superhero comics, but that's basically my.
Well, that's what we've been discussing.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
I mean, on our regular review show, we don't discuss it, but it's fair game
fair enough.
On the on-location shows.
I really liked a good chunk of the Secret Wars titles, which surprised me because I wasn't expecting to like much of Secret Wars at all. Because it's one of those big events that is kind of blatantly, let's try and get more money. So
yes.
it felt like that.
Well, it's Marvel, so
yeah,
you just accept that as a given.
Yeah, but it was better than I was expecting. The core Secret Wars title was really good. I love A-Force. A-Force was amazing. And then I really liked Old Man Logan, and surprisingly, even though I'd never heard of it before Secret Wars, I really liked Master of Kung Fu. Okay. Those were like my big 4 from the Secret Wars series. Oh, and
that's like a classic from the 70s.
Was Master of Kung Fu, was that a one-shot issue for Secret Wars?
No, there was 5.
It was like 4 or 5 of them.
I think it was a 5-issue
miniseries. And it was well done too.
I mean, I really enjoyed Howard the Human. I thought that was excellent.
That was a one-shot, which I haven't bought yet, actually. It's still sitting in my box.
Human stuck in a world of animals.
It works.
Yes,
it's very Twilight Zone-y.
It's very strange how, if you flip it, Howard the Duck still works, you know?
Yes.
Picture, if you will.
It's... The Secret Wars was filled with a lot of, like, what-if issues, you know? Like, if this happened, and, like, if MODOK fell in love with...
oh, God, it was a Thor version of Angela.
Yeah, with Angela.
It was so... I loved that. That was amazing. That was a great series. MODOK Assassin.
Yeah, I love that.
MODOK Assassin was great.
I didn't get a chance to read any of it.
That's a shame.
Borrow my issues if you want to.
I have too much to read. I barely caught up last night on things like Toil and Trouble, which is really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I still have lots of catching up to do from last week and the previous.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Okay, well, let me ask. What's Toil and Trouble?
Toil and Trouble. I think it's by Oni. O-N-I. Oni.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's like Macbeth told from the witch's perspective.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 6-issue series.
And it's Oni.
I actually.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't I remember seeing this in previews then?
It's beautifully illustrated. It's well written.
Okay, I am completely. If I've seen it, I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember that at all.
Pick up the trade when it comes out.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, in the preview section, Oni barely gets any coverage whatsoever. It's like 1 or 2 pages.
But they put out some great books.
Yeah.
Right, but it's in the part of the catalog that I always pay very close attention to, that back half after you get past the premier publishers, because that I mean, I like a lot of the stuff in the premier publisher sections, don't get me wrong. It's just, after you get past the IDW and then the little insert that Marvel always has, after that, the vast majority of what I read is there, going from Abstract Studios alphabetically back.
Right.
Oh, I was just thinking, Oni Press, Invader Zim started last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an Invader Zim comic.
Have you read that at all?
No, I have not.
Oh,
the thing that I miss about Invader Zim is all of the screaming.
Yes, there's lots and lots of gratuitous screaming.
Yeah, it comes across fairly well in the comic, but it came across significantly better in the cartoon, where you could actually hear all of the screaming, which I'm not going to do because I'm on microphone.
Yeah,
but
it
captures the Doom song.
It captures the original image of the cartoon like extraordinarily well.
This is true. I flipped through a couple issues.
Yeah.
And they
I thought
looked really good.
it really does a great job with the cartoon. I think it picks up really nicely right where the cartoon ended and continues on, and all the craziness that was that cartoon.
And the latest issue, like 5 or 6, doesn't even have Invader Zim in it. It's all about Gaz and Dib, and it is fantastic. It feels like you're just reading an episode of the cartoon.
That's what a comic book model on a cartoon like that should be. I think
Where the side characters can be as much of a protagonist as the well. I guess Zim would be the main antagonist.
I don't know what Zim is. Zim is Zim. And Gur is amazing, and that's about all you really need to know.
Zim is the antagonist. He's trying to take over the world.
Yeah, he's very inept at it, though.
Well, yes.
But you don't see very many cartoons or comics about the villains, like starring them.
No, and that's what makes it so great. The fact that he is inept and it doesn't know it. He thinks he's great, and he's going to conquer this planet because he knows he's great.
And then he's really bad at it.
Yes.
But unfortunately, gets a really awful robot in Gur.
I'm gonna sing the Doom song now.
Yes.
There's a
Okay, that voice. I mean, I don't know the reference, but it sounds like something that would be accurate. But at the same time, it scares me.
the first episode would scare any normal adult.
Gur should scare everyone. Yes.
Gur does scare everyone.
But yeah, he has that really. In the cartoons, he had a very, very high pitched voice, and he was obsessed with.
See, I haven't seen the cartoon.
Anyways, he was obsessed with Earth culture. He loved burritos and tacos and watching TV.
My taquitos!
And
my taquitos!
and of course, Invader Zim's ready to conquer the Earth, and the robot dog just like, why do we want to conquer it? This place is awesome. It's just like,
exactly. I think Gur gets foiled half the time by his own ineptitude, and Zim gets foiled half the time by his own ineptitude, and half the time by Gur.
And then the other part is Dib just being his own inept, alien hunter.
Yes. Yes. Everybody on this show is inept, and it's great.
Oh, yeah.
There's a rumor going around on YouTube where Gur is actually the smart one, and he's secretly foiling all of Zim's plans so he can one day conquer planet Earth instead.
I can kind of see it.
And where is this cartoon?
It was an old Nickelodeon cartoon.
Oh, it's a Nickelodeon, okay.
Yeah, it was back in, 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this is like years ago.
Yeah,
this
and we finally got the creators together, and then they decided, well, we can continue on with the comic book since Nickelodeon doesn't want to do the cartoon anymore.
The history of that show is just kind of wild, though.
Yeah,
that's true enough.
There was an interview with one of the guys who did the writing on a while back. I don't remember where exactly it was, and I remember very distinctly that one of the lines from the interview was, if you wanted to get a voice job on the show, they basically only had one requirement. You had to be able to scream.
There is lots of screaming on the cartoon.
Lots of screaming
whether it's
on
from Zim or from Gur or all the characters had to scream.
But that only title came out last year, so that's what you're talking about.
Yes,
It's one of your
and
favorites.
it was all the creators got together.
We went off on
a
a
lot
tangent
of
there, sorry.
fans guys
Nostalgia
wanted
trip.
that one back,
Right.
and so a lot of the creators got together and said, we can create this in a comic book, and Oni Press said, yeah, we'll do it, and make it as crazy as you guys want it to be, and it is as crazy as you'd want it to be. So
I'm hearing that you guys are talking about primarily Marvel stuff as some of your favorites of 2015. Mm-hmm. Is that the case?
Well,
Any non-Marvel material of any sort, not necessarily mainstream or otherwise.
Toil and Trouble. Invisible Republic was good. We Stand on Guard was pretty good.
Oh yeah, Stand on Guard. That was really good about, instead of the United States being the true powerhouse, it was Canada. And, it was the true powerhouse there, and it was about the stories about the guys who guard the border of Canada against those, poor, ragamuffins in the United States.
Yeah, I liked that. I was a little surprised that it turned out to be a limited series. I thought when they initially launched it that this was going to be an ongoing. And so I thought that it was going to be something more like a saga, small s, not a capital, since we're talking about Brian K. Vaughan, something that would go on for a while.
That's what I was hoping, too. I was really disappointed when they, Sabrina was telling me, it's like, well, that's the last issue. And I'm like, oh, well, it just got really, really good.
Right? Like, one battle is like, and we're good.
Yeah.
But I still thought it was pretty good.
But, I have to admit, I still enjoyed it. And,
Ooh, speaking of Brian K. Vaughan, Private Eye Deluxe Edition, oh my god.
I saw, didn't they do a Kickstarter thing about that?
I don't know how it actually got, because it was originally just a web only.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a Kickstarter unless there's some weird thing going on that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
This was something because it was almost exactly a year ago that we had Brian K. Vaughan on the show, on the Comics Alternative, and that was one of our big gets early last year.
Yeah.
And I had heard that he had said this will never be a comic in print, it's only for the web. And we even asked him specifically on the show, is this true? And he said, I don't have any plans for this, and it's just a web comic. But I remember at the time when he said that on the show, he didn't say it emphatically like I thought he had said it elsewhere. And then when several months ago it was solicited, the deluxe hard copy edition, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, and I ended up getting it. It's a beautiful book. Because of its size and shape, it's a little difficult to hold, but, I can deal with that.
Right.
Coffee table somewhere.
Yes. But yeah, he had some kind of deal with Image in some way, I'm sure, and I'm sure it had something to do with Kirkman and some, an issue that BKV is doing of The Walking Dead that will appear on Panel Syndicate. I'm sure that was part of the deal. I mean, I don't know for a fact.
Yeah.
When you asked him about if it was coming to print, did he have his fingers crossed behind his back?
It was an audio interview. I did not see
Like
it.
a week later, the publishers came to him and they're like, we want this in print. And he's like, okay.
Well,
yes.
I'm so glad they printed it, though. Thank you. Because I kept forgetting about the actual digital comic. I only bought like 2 or 3 of the issues, and I just forgot about it. If it's not in my face, I'm going to forget.
See, I didn't consider that for 2015 because I think that was one of my favorites for 2014 when it first started.
Well, the book came out in December.
And it came out in December, but still I could have considered that. But because I, included that the previous year, I thought, well, it had its time. But has anyone read BKB and Marcos Martin's new digital comic, Barrier?
No, because digital, and I forget about it.
Yeah.
Please print that, please. I will give you money.
It's a good first issue, and in fact, we reviewed that on an episode of the Comics Alternative a few weeks back. It's interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes, and they're playing around with language. At least half of that first issue is in Spanish, with no translation whatsoever. Usually with U.S.-based comics, you have, even if something's spoken in a different language, you have the little caret, and usually with an asterisk that says, Spanish or Russian or whatever, but we can read it in English, right? It's translated.
Yeah.
But this, no translation whatsoever. And at first, it's a little frustrating, but then but you get a sense of what's happening, though. And I was even tempted, after I finished it, to head over to, because I don't speak Spanish, to Google Translate. And then in the back matter of that first issue, BKV specifically mentions, if you want to head over to Google Translate, you could. He said, really, there's no need to in order to understand what's going on. He said, in essence, he was saying, we knew that this was going to be a little frustrating for some readers, but there's a reason for this. And so that's enough for me to, stay on board and to see where he's going. So it's interesting.
Is the title a reference to language barrier by any chance?
Oh, I'm sure that's a big part of it as well.
That's part of it, yeah.
But, it does take place on the border.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking earlier about We Stand on Guard. That's the northern border. And then now we're talking about the southern border. And, in fact, these are 2 titles that, we should alert Donald Trump to. Said, one, Canada can kick America's butt. And then, and We Stand on Guard. And then, we have people coming over the border in Barrier.
Yeah.
There was
only I could think that you can actually read.
Yeah. While we're
hope
thinking
so.
about
Oh, he can read hugely.
We'll get somebody else to do it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
while we're thinking about digital titles, switching gears just a little bit. It's not so much a digital comic as it is just straight up a web comic. But I think last year, and I know I've mentioned it on the show before, but last year was the year I discovered Ava's Demon, and I still really like that. I did the Kickstarter. I've got both the hardcover books coming. I don't suppose anybody else here has read Ava's Demon.
No, I remember you talking about that the last time that you were on, though.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's really good.
No, it's no good.
Yeah, that's a good memory because it's been over 6 months since.
Yeah, no, that is really good. But it's just it's visually gorgeous is the first thing that always pops out to me, and then the plot is really, really interesting. I have no idea where it's going, but I want to know. It's been on a little bit of a hiatus because of the fact that the artist is trying to get the Kickstarter books figured out and done, and they're trying to build up a backlog so that if they have to stop for some reason, they can keep posting. Last year was the year that I discovered Ava's Demon, and it was the big one for me in terms of webcomics.
Well, I'll have to check that out to see, as a potential for a future webcomics episode, because we do a monthly show devoted to just webcomics.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And remind me again, what is the general genre?
Oh, geez.
Fantasy, sci-fi?
It's fantasy.
Fantasy,
It is
okay.
very much a fantasy novel,
Okay.
a fantasy webcomic. I wish I was better at talking about this sort of thing because I want to say more than just it's really good and it's really pretty, but those are the two things that are coming to mind right now.
No. I mean, people should read it and really enjoy it. Don't spoil as much as possible.
Yeah, no.
So you read it too, Matt?
No, I was thinking.
Or you're just blowing smoke?
Well, I was agreeing with him.
he wants me to
that
shut up.
Okay.
No, I was agreeing with him that he doesn't want to talk about it, and I'm giving him a reason.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then I guess because I've been awful about cutting in, I actually wanted to comment back to the comment you made a while back about non-Marvel titles. There wasn't a whole lot. Like the only other things I looked at besides Marvel was a couple of DC titles, and they were very hit or miss for me. DC didn't have the best year last year, but the Starfire comic and the Black Canary comic were both really good for two very different reasons. The Starfire comic reminded me straight up of the Teen Titans cartoon, and I really, really liked that because the Teen Titans cartoon was kind of my favorite cartoon when it was up and running, and I wish it had never stopped. Oops, sorry. And then
What was that?
sorry. And then Black Canary was just a very good sort of its own story that I really liked, and the art was not my style, but something that I was able to recognize as being very, very good anyways. Man, that's not what I wanted. So those were two that came to mind when you asked that question of like non-Marvel things that you really liked and really were looking forward to.
Okay.
So.
As far as webcomics making it to print for last year, Looking for Group was actually a really one that I followed online for a long time, and I didn't even know it could be on a comic book. And there are tons of pages on the web already. It's like up to 500, 600. I guess you could say page issues already. I think they categorized them up to like 10 or 12 volumes. But it's basically like Lord of the Rings, except for there's one of the main characters is a dead necromancer, and he just flat out almost kills. Like he does a Deadpool where he kills somebody like in each panel, like offhandedly, just because it's kind of his thing, and it's just funny. Some of the panels are a little grotesque, not like terribly graphic, but it's that kind of offhanded, violent humor that people get from Deadpool. I think people would kind of enjoy if they like fantasy, like trolls and elves and that such nonsense.
Okay.
I don't know if nonsense is the word.
But nonsense in a good way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, nonsense in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, you now that you guys are mentioning webcomics and webcomics that have, I guess, a print component eventually, One of my favorites is still, and we discussed this on a very early webcomics episode, is Evan Dom's Vatu. And I mean that is just an outstanding story. I was also thinking about it in terms of your reference to fantasy, because I think that is the genre into which that, I guess, comfortably fits. And if you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. He has published one book of Vatu in hard copy form, and I got that from him. I think I got it when I was at Heroes Con, because I saw him at Heroes Con, and then I saw him again at SPX last year. But I think it was at Heroes Con where I got my hard copy of Vatu, and I don't know if the second one's out, and if not, I hope it's out soon. But that's definitely one to check out. Vatu. And something else that I learned is that Jason Shiga is wrapping up Demon. I don't know if anyone has read Demon or is following Demon. Oh, it's another really good webcomic. And in fact, yesterday I heard from an individual, Paul Lai. He is the new editor, in fact, of the Comics Alternative blog. And he knows Jason Shiga, or has communicated with him. And I think Paul is going to help line up an interview with Shiga on the Comics Alternative.
Nice.
So
Very cool.
I hope that comes about. But I say this by way of mentioning Demon and strongly recommending that. And it's about to wrap up, so
Okay, good.
Very nice.
you can get the complete story.
I forgot what this webcomic did with color. It's so
this
good
is
at
what
work.
you were...
Yeah, this is Ava's Demon.
Right. And our listeners cannot see this,
No.
obviously, but...
It's really pretty.
It's really
It's really pretty. Let's describe the prettiness.
There's fire and color. Such
Yeah.
beautiful color.
Lots of reds and yellows.
Yeah, there's like each character seems to have a color palette. There's one character who is distinctly red. There's one who's distinctly blue. There's one that's very distinctly green. And the webcomic does some really interesting things with those particular color palettes, but all of the colors are very vibrant and very, very striking. Which I forgot how striking they were. So I'm looking forward to this coming in book form, because this is going to be great.
And is this one you say it's coming into book form through the Kickstarter?
This was a Kickstarter that
Okay.
was done.
Okay.
So yeah, that's I don't know if they're gonna. She's probably gonna do another one, because this is actually the second Kickstarter, and I did the more expensive tier to get both books. Anyways, I actually was going to cut in because I was going to say that I have to cut out.
Okay.
This is where I need to cut and run. So this was fun. I
Well,
really
Chris,
appreciate
thank you
letting
for
me jump
joining
in.
us for a little while and telling us about your faves from
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun. Can we talk real fast over? Yeah, thank you. Sorry. No, I don't want to get it on microphone because it's not entirely relevant to the microphone thing.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. And, okay, so we've spent the first, 30 minutes or so talking about what we liked from last year. What are you looking forward to in 2016?
Well, one of the first things that come to mind is, I think it's IDW. It's coming out with a couple of what if issues for Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One of them where instead of just Leonardo, what if all the turtles were brainwashed by Shredder and used for as foot ninjas? And I'm like,
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
that is
one.
Well, I have it, so I can give it to you.
I'm not sure how it'll go, especially with Splinter going after his kids. But and I think I can't remember what the other issue for Ghostbusters, what the turn was.
But those are a couple of things that you're looking forward to
just
this
off
year
the top
in
of my
both
head that I
IDW.
was actually looking forward to. But besides the next Civil War that's going to be coming out in May or April or something like that, Civil War 2.
I feel like
No.
Marvel's bored.
okay.
Recycling titles.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to go down this road because then the cynical Derek will come out, especially in light of within the context of Marvel. It's like, come up with another damn name. Okay, so we had Secret War, and how many times has Secret War been used in the past?
Twice.
Now we have yes. So this is the third time. So now we have Civil War. Call it something else. And I know why they're doing this because for the next movie. So business wise, this makes sense. Now creative wise. I don't know. Maybe it does, and maybe that does resonate in ways that I don't expect. But I mean, I enjoyed Civil War. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, but when it comes to Marvel, where I like it the most is when they do very well with an event, and I think that Civil War stood out head and shoulders above a lot of their other events over the past, let's say, couple of decades.
Right.
So why not come up with something else besides Civil War II, Electric Boogaloo, or whatever the hell they're calling it? I mean, they may as well call it that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because again, coming back to Donald Trump, it's so ridiculous. Go ahead and call it what it is instead of us pretending that this is serious.
So it would be Marvel presents Miss Marvel versus Iron Man.
Okay, they have a lot of creative people working at Marvel. They can come up with something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's basically what it is. I mean, they're two teams going to fight it out over something to do with Pleasant Hill. It's probably something to do with Hydra underneath.
It's separate.
Is it separate?
Yeah, well, I mean, could I maybe...
Oh, sure. In fact, this is Stephanie. And Stephanie, I don't think I've met you. You're
I actually started working here in November.
She's our friendly new girl.
But yeah, and then I also
she's the
have
new girl.
Yeah, the new girl in town. But no, so first off, before you have Civil War, there's going to be an event called Standoff.
And by the way, let me mention that you have a Marvel T-shirt on, so that makes you the authority at the table.
Yeah, Marvel ladies, and then I have a Marvel lady on my name badge. Name badge. So there's going to be Standoff, which is basically this enclave that's like a perfect city, but people are trying to escape. But something in the city is so bad that the Avengers are trying to keep these people in. So that happens first, and then we're going to go into Civil War, which is like Minority Report, is basically what they've come up with. So in a way, it should be Marvel Presents Minority Report.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
Yes.
And this will start coming out when?
I believe Standoff starts pretty soon. I think in the coming, like, at least March or so, something like that. And it's going to be tying into all the Avengers titles. So Uncanny, All New Avengers, All New, All Different Avengers. It's very... And they could come up with better names for their Avengers teams. It's very hard to explain to people because they're like, I want to read the Avengers book. I'm like...
How confused do you think the people in the Marvel universe are? Is like, which
know.
Avengers are you talking about? There's now 20 different Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Avengers have gotten bad back with the X-Men were in the 90s when there's 10 books of X-Men books and they're all thinking, wait, which X-Men are we? Well, we're the Uncanny X-Men. We're just the X-Men, and
All New Uncanny Avengers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's kind of
Forget
good.
Inhumans.
Oh yeah, and then now we have
Right.
Uncanny and Humans. They've just slapped Uncanny onto all their teams.
Too many.
Yeah,
Uncanny, superior,
yeah.
Crunchy.
crunchy, unexpected,
Toasted.
slightly disgruntled.
Toasted Avengers. I like it.
Yeah,
That's a breakfast cereal.
yeah.
Right there.
Full of
I want me
fiber.
some toasted Avengers.
150
flakes are
calories
full of-
Avengers.
Away from Avengers and all their different flavors, I almost forgot about Lady Killer. Lady Killer was so good.
I thought that was... Didn't that start at late 2014, or...
It was only like a 6-issue series.
Right.
Well,
They're doing another narrative arc of Lady Killer. Is that
they
what you're
totally
saying?
left it open.
Okay, because I thought that I heard somewhere that they may do that, and I really like that. I didn't read all the way to the end of that series,
Oh, you should.
but I read the first several issues. See, that's one of the things that defines, and I think I was about to say this when Chris came up. One of the things that defined my 2015 is I became very bad, I guess if I want to call it bad, at starting series and then not finishing them. Not because I didn't like them, but just because of matters of time. Now, before we started to record, you guys were commenting on the fact that over the past 6 months we've been doing a lot of shows. And that feeds into the fact that I can't finish series as I'd like because I do so much other reading for other episodes or for interviews. You know, I'd like to be completely up to date with Descender, but there are other things that I need to read.
Right.
I'd like to have finished Lady Killer. Oh no, maybe I did finish that series now that I think about it. And I don't know what that says about the series, but I did like it. But I did now. Okay, I do remember now finishing that last issue. So, that one is something I did finish. But there are a lot of things that I haven't, just because I run out of time or other things compete for my time. And I know that there are a lot of reviewers out there in the comics world who have no problem keeping up, but that's their primary job. This is my sideline. This is my hobby. This is not what I do full time. And I got that to do as well, which includes a lot of reading.
Yeah, we don't blame you or anything. It's a lot to take in, especially in 2015. There was a lot coming out.
Yeah, I'm super bad about that too. There's like a lot of stuff I want to support, just not enough time.
Right? Yeah. Like the new Archie and Jughead series are really fun. They're fun reads.
I haven't picked them up at all, but I hear great things about them.
Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah. I'm super behind on Miss Marvel.
Yeah. So what else are we looking forward to in 2016?
Gem and the Holograms.
Yes.
Black Road.
Yeah.
The new Brian Wood book. He's going back to the Viking Age. Oh my god!
Now I have not heard of Black Road. When was this announced?
I actually just found out about it today.
Okay,
I
because
heard
it hasn't
that
been
it was going to be
solicited.
happening, but I was able to add it to my sub, so Brian, you're getting my money. But I think it's about a man who's... Crap, I can't even remember. I want to say there was like a murder that they're investigating, but it's during the transition of like paganism and Christianity during that turbulent time. But...
Because he did Northlanders.
Northlanders.
For Vertigo,
I have all of those books.
Yeah.
Oh, they're delightful. I like Rebels, too.
I like Rebels. You mentioned Brian Wood. That reminds me, one of the things I'm looking forward to is they're finally going to collect the Massive in a library edition, or in library editions. I don't know how many they're going to be, but I remember last month, or maybe it was in January this month, that it was solicited in previews. And I've been holding out on... I haven't gotten the trades of those. I think I've got all of the individual issues for the collector in me, and I like his work. But I didn't get any of the trades because I was waiting for deluxe editions of some sort.
So explain to me, what is the difference between library edition and just regular volumes of trades?
Okay, I think a library edition is what Dark Horse calls what other people may call deluxe editions.
Oh, okay.
So,
omnibus.
They just yes, or an omnibus. Last year they started to come out with Goon library editions, and it's about time because it's been a long. I mean, the Goon's been around for a long time. It was. It was around before Dark Horse picked it up, but Dark Horse has had it for a long time. But they've been doing library editions of Hellboy for quite a while now. So I think that's what they call their deluxe editions. Other publishers may call them deluxe or omnibuses or...
So it's just Dark Horse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe it's something about, library editions. Those are the kind of books that libraries may be more apt to get. Even though that strikes me as a little weird because a lot of public libraries I know get trades. They may not be as sturdy, but they're definitely more affordable.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's one of the things I was going to ask is that if it's a library edition, will it be available for retail? And I guess it is, right?
Yeah, but they they just call it a library edition.
Right. That's what I was confused
Yes.
about. Yeah. Okay.
For sure. Oh, another one I'm interested in is actually by a local guy, Andy Hirsch. He's super cool. He's doing something called the Baker Street Peculiars. It's like Sherlock Holmes, but with children as your main characters.
And that's going to be coming out from First Second?
That's going to be coming out in March.
But his first is that his first second book?
Boom. No, his
Boom.
first second book is... Oh, crap.
I think...
It's a Western. And I think it's coming out in June? Vermin?
Oh, Vermint.
Vermint.
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't... He did say something to me last year about the first second book. And I'm sure he told me that... Or Varmints.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure he told me that. I just forgot. So when you mentioned that, I also did hear that he had this new series, or at least he's the artist. He's not the writer, right?
Yeah, he's an
for the
artist.
Boom, right?
Yeah.
But the Varmints though is his. That's all him, and that's going to be first second.
Yeah, so that'll be cool.
And that's good because 2016 is the 10-year anniversary of First Second. And in talking with the publicist there, Gina, she had said that they're planning on doing a lot of stuff, to commemorate their 10-year anniversary.
Right.
So this is coming at a very good time.
I remember seeing that comic that you were talking about in the preview section. I think it was in November or December. It caught my eye, but I didn't. Andy Hirsch's one?
Oh, the Western.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But I didn't know. I guess it's coming out soon then?
You're talking about the Boom title.
Yeah.
The Boom title is coming out in March.
Okay.
The Baker Street Peculiars.
Right.
The other one I think is coming out later, like in June maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely.
That's definitely something to look forward to.
Definitely, because I wanna see him prosper. Because he's a talented young man.
He's very
He's a nice guy.
And this is his local shop.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He comes here very often.
And the thing is, but he's not on. See, I get in touch with you guys via Facebook. So, about a week or so before we do a show, I message everyone who's been a part of the on location shows in the past, and maybe some people who've never come, but they're in the area. So I'd like for them to come and be a part of the show. I would include Andy, but he's not on Facebook.
Yeah, I think he's more of a Twitter guy.
Yeah, he's on Twitter, but since I don't announce this via Twitter, maybe I should.
Have you
Maybe.
ever actually talked to him?
Oh yeah. We've talked to him on the show many times, and usually it's been on location at either, let's say, Heroes Con or
Free Comic Book Day last year,
or the Free Comic Book Day here, like one or two times, or the Halloween visit that we do here, which we didn't do last year, and also the Dallas Con. I've talked to him there before. So yeah, he's been on the show a number of times, but we've never had him on for kind of an exclusive interview for about an hour or so. Well, when this new book comes out, we definitely are. I've already talked to him about that.
Okay,
Nice.
cool.
Good.
So that's something to
be
look
good.
forward to. Yeah.
Man, what else is coming out?
Beauties by Marguerite Bennett. We were actually, it's an online only, but which
makes
is
me sad.
Which
It's
is really
still coming.
sad because I need to go get it. But I think it just came out at the beginning of the year, and it's basically an alternate retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And so it's this monster, kind of lion creature that goes too close to the human settlement, and they capture him and enslave him. And so basically, like, the man of the house is just like treating him as a slave, but his other daughters are like doing different things with him. Like one's just playing with him like he's a dog, and the other one's like using him to hunt. But the third one actually treats him like a person, and it's like how like their journey together. It's like the third daughter and this monster creature. It's kind of interesting, and the art's just really beautiful, fairy tale esque.
It is nice. The preview that they put on, what was it, Comic Alliance?
Yeah,
I was like, I need this.
I know.
I
I
was
was like, we.
It's Beauties.
Yeah, beauties.
yeah, beauties.
And it's beautiful.
We know you mentioned that. It reminds me of something. I guess both looking back to last year and also looking forward to, because one of the things I'm looking forward to, and maybe it's more of a hopefulness or a wish than anything, I'm really hoping for good things from Vertigo. I used to be, and I still am, but especially used to be really big into Vertigo. Anything that they did, everything that they did, I would read, I would keep up with. And I mentioned this in light of the fairy tale just because last year Fables ended, and Fables was one of my favorites. And I think that it ended well. I liked it. In fact, we devoted an entire show just to Fables, saying goodbye to Fables and appreciating Fables.
Yeah.
And now we have a series of new titles. They're the 12 new titles that began back in October. And in fact, we did a Vertigo Spotlight, if you guys recall, last week. And then they have one or two more titles, new titles, that are going to be coming out the first part of 2016. I'm hopeful. I think that they're good. I don't know if you guys have read any of these new 12 titles.
I Red Thorn, and it's kind of, guess like modern, but with like kind of the fae, like evil fairy sort of scenario in Ireland, which is kind of interesting. But it's also like, where is this going? Because it's like it seems to be going very dark very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I mean, it's good. It's just one of those things where I'm just not sure if it's going to veer on the path of staying good, or if it's going to greatly go off the path once this Red Thorn character was like taking the reins of the show, it seemed.
Yeah, and there's some of those series that I don't know exactly where they're going. Like, for instance, New Romancer. I like it. I've only read one issue. I haven't read issue number 2 that came out, I think, maybe last week. But again, I'm hopeful, and I'm wanting Vertigo to have, I guess, the cachet that it used to. I think it's fallen by the wayside for many readers. Maybe for a couple of
Didn't
reasons.
they like close Vertigo after, like when they did the New 52? Like shortly after they closed it for most of the things. Or-
You mean quit publishing titles?
yeah, I think they.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, yeah, they continued, and I think that there are two things that contributed to, I guess, with many readers, a fall in estimation with Vertigo. One was a couple of years ago, maybe it's been more like 3, when Karen Hughes stepped down, and oh god, what is her name? Shelley Bond took over as editor, and she had been working with Vertigo for years, but. And I think that may have affected some readers in one way or another. But I think another reason is because of Image. Because now Image is doing largely what used to be almost exclusive to Vertigo, the kind of titles that they would do.
Yeah.
I mean, almost any Image title that comes out now could easily have fit in the catalog of Vertigo, not even that long ago, or even today. So... And I think that a lot of the Image titles, or what Image is doing, is stealing some of Vertigo's thunder. And that's unfortunate. So I'd like to see Vertigo flexing more muscle.
Yeah, because I don't read. Man, I'm not reading any Vertigo
No.
at the moment. Now that
Like
I'm
none of it's really
realizing it.
struck my fancy, but that's just because my taste. It's not necessarily like it's not good, but it's nothing that's really drawn me to. I need to pick this
Right?
up.
Okay, now let me ask you this in light of what you just said, and then earlier mentioning the more fairy tale fantasy aspect. Did you read Hinderkin?
Oh, no, what's that one about?
Oh, that one was interesting.
Yes,
I only
because
read the first few issues though.
yeah, I thought that was one of the more promising of that time. That and the Federal Bureau of Physics, I think, were the two exciting titles that started a little more than 2, maybe 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah, and that is one where a lot of these fantastic creatures invade or become a part of the human world. So it's very much, I guess, like what you guys were talking about in terms of the more fantastic fairy tale like narratives.
Yeah. There's not. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of fantasy. Like Autumn Lands, I think has been a pretty.
That's a
strong
good one, and that could easily fit in Vertigo, but it's an Image title.
Yeah. I was speaking of other Image books. Prophet, Earth War. Oh yeah, it's gonna get weird, but it's gonna be good.
So that's another one you're looking forward
Yeah,
to.
because the whole Prophet storyline, and it's gonna focus more on. I really need to finish reading just normal Prophet, so I can read that. I believe it's gonna be a 4-issue series, because it's just such a crazy story, such weird sci-fi. But I've never had anyone I recommended it to not like it. But it's gonna be good.
Okay.
Craig, do you remember? We were talking about it last week. Do you remember any of the DC Vertigo new titles that were getting rehashed sometime this year?
I know that Lucifer they were planning on bringing back.
Yeah,
out.
that
Yeah.
might be interesting.
The 2 issues so far.
Yeah, and
you
I
read
did.
Did the second issue come out just this week?
Just this
Today.
week.
Today, yeah. I haven't read that one yet, but I liked the first one.
I did too.
good.
Yeah.
I liked the first.
See, that was one, and I mentioned this, I kind of repeating myself, I guess, from what I said in last week's show. That's one that I was a little skeptical of because I love Mike Carey's run on Lucifer. To me, Mike Carey is Lucifer. I mean, not like the devil, but the title is him. He made it what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I know it springs from, Gaiman's Sandman, but, he made it his own. And I absolutely love that series. It's one that you can always come back to. So I had high expectations. So it had to prove something to me. And it did well. And I saw... when does the first episode of the new series debut? Is it...
It's either this month or next month.
No, it's this month. Is it the 20th? Because that's today.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I don't pay attention
guess
to
I'll-
TV.
It's 20 some. It's 20. I remember seeing that. Now I've seen it.
I've seen it too.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Did you? Well, you saw it at San Diego,
I saw it
right?
at San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I saw it. I wasn't at San Diego, but because it was at San Diego, it's out there
Oh, yeah.
in the internet sphere, and so I have seen it in some way. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought so too.
It's very different from the first issue.
Oh yeah. But I thought it was pretty well done. I mean, I like the guy that is playing Lucifer. I think he's going to do a great job with it, or at least I hope he will.
Yeah.
And-
Although my one reservation is watching that pilot episode of Lucifer, did you feel that it was very much like a police procedural?
oh, yeah.
And I have nothing against those. I mean,
just
I
hope
really
that's
enjoy
not
that genre. It's just, is that what Lucifer should be? And if this is what the series becomes, if it follows the pattern established by the pilot, I don't know if it's something that I would want to come back to.
Yeah, that's why
But-
I'm hoping that it's not just going to be, Lucifer chases down criminals.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
hoping
enough of that.
that.
That does sound pretty interesting, though.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
But I'm hoping that it will.
And he could be his own good cop and bad cop,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But I
You
did
know?
it did leave some hints out there that hell and heaven are really upset with him on his vacation.
Right.
And maybe start pulling some strings to get him back to where they think he belongs.
So when somebody says to him, "Go to hell," he says, "Too late."
Pretty much, yes. It's
They're done that.
it's an enjoyable pilot episode.
Yeah,
I
and of
mean,
course he has a British accent.
he does, of course, have British accents because all the people with British accents are villains. And
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
as the commercials tell us.
Maybe just one of those mustaches.
yeah, if only.
Mustache.
Yes.
What, a Simon Legree mustache?
Yes, we can twirl it.
Dick
and-
Dastardly.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that the book that came out last week that I'm really looking forward to see issue number 2 is Spirit Leaves.
This is what you have in front of you right
yeah,
now.
from Chapter House Comics. It's basically we're talking about fairy tales and stuff like that. This is a very fairy tale type book where you have basically this albino girl that is part deer. She's a shaman, and she knows there's something bad going on in the forest, and she teams up with the wolf boy to go chase down this demon and try to get rid of it. And of course, then they'll realize that they're way out of their league. But from just the issue start of it, the artwork is amazing, and the interesting part about it doesn't have your traditional panel layout, and yet still flows really, really well.
That was one I saved for Craig because I was like, he's going to really like this. Because I really, really liked it too, but we only got 2 copies in.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Talk about a low print run.
I know.
I know that's what's a shame about it because I would really love for people to go out there and check out more of it because
Yeah.
it's
I'll definitely have to check
Add
out
this
the
to your
trade.
sub.
Now you mentioned, okay, so the protagonist, you said she's part deer, and
Yeah.
that's why she has the big eyes.
That's why she has the big eyes.
The big
and,
doe eyes.
It's like
big doe
they're
eyes.
on a world where everyone's like kind
Yeah,
of
like part animal.
Anthropomorphic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like the boy that she meets
I
up
think
with
they're all
is
spirits in
actually
some
kind of
way.
like a looks like a wolf. So yeah, I think they're all kind of like part spirits, but they'll talk about how they're communicating with there are spirits on a higher realm, and hence that's why she's a shaman. She can communicate with those spirits on a higher realm that alert her that there's some problems going on in the forest. And
Shenanigans.
yes,
Because when I saw her, I thought, well, maybe this is influenced by manga,
it could
and
be.
it could be.
But it's
If
still
manga
very
wasn't
different.
panelized at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just art on top of art. Which, when you think about it, in comic form, you wouldn't think it works very well, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was one thing I was very impressed with when I was reading it, is that the artwork and bubbles lead you where your eye needs to go on all the pages. So you're not like, oh, what am I supposed to look at here? It's like your eyes are following it, the line of action. It's really well handled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really an ingenious way of telling a story, at least in comic form. And
And this is
this was issue 1.
Chapter House.
Chapter House
okay.
Books, and it's by Rossi Gifford. I apologize if I butchered that name, but by Chapter House Comics, which I don't know much about them, but they really sold me on.
Well, they're
this
the
book.
ones who
This
do
is
Captain Canuck.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yes. They do Captain Canuck.
And in fact, the creator of Captain Canuck had a table 2 down from us at Heroes Con. I never went over to say anything to him. It pissed me off because I was going to the last day, but he left early.
Oh,
man.
no,
So-
I hate when that happens.
So yeah, so that's what I get for not, striking while the iron was hot. Well, I mentioned manga. One of the things that I'm looking forward to this year is more books from Shisiri Mizuki. that Drawn and Quarterly will be publishing, and they're going to begin putting out more of his. Oh, what is that character that he made famous? The Ghost, Kitaro series. That is really good. And I know that a couple of you listened to our manga shows. Yeah. Did you hear the one that we did on Mizuki's Hitler?
Yes.
Okay.
Someone bought that today.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. Well, the thing about that episode, the day that we released the episode, Mizuki died.
Oh,
and because
you killed Mizuki.
Yeah. Well, I remember first thing in the morning. I remember reading. I woke up, and this is about 5:30. I read my emails, and late at night, Shay who does the show with me, emailed. He said, "I don't know if this is true or not, but I read somewhere on the internet that Mizuki may have passed away." And so I did check, and indeed he had died. And so we put up the episode, and almost immediately after I put it up, my regular co-host, Andy Kunka, emailed me and said, "That was a really good show you and Shay did, but I hope you're happy you killed Mizuki."
Hitler strikes
He
again.
listened to your show, and you killed him. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. But I'm looking forward to more of his books that Drawn and Quarterly is getting ready to put out. I can't believe I haven't mentioned this. The new Daniel Klaus book is really big news. Patience. Daniel Klaus is the one who used to have the series 8 Ball, and he's also known for Ghost World, among other things. But he hasn't published anything in quite a long time.
I don't even remember the last book I saw by him.
It was probably Death Ray. No, it was maybe Wilson. Wilson or Mr. Wonderful. Back in, I think 2010. Yeah, around 2009 and 2010, he had quite a number of books. There was Death Ray, which was originally, I think, the last issue of 8 Ball. And then Mr. Wonderful and Wilson, not necessarily in that order. But then since maybe 2010, I don't think he's come out with anything original. So now everyone's anticipating Patience. And so I'm looking forward to it, but I'm hoping that expectations, mine and others, aren't overinflated.
Right.
Yeah.
That's always the trouble with any comic books that are coming out. And you're like, oh, I love this guy, and it's going to be awesome. And then you're like, oh, wait, I probably overhyped it.
Yeah.
And I saw, I know you guys have talked about it on your preview show, and I was talking to Sabrina about it. That art looked fantastic, but Emma Rios's mirror from the Image.
That looks really interesting.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, it looking at the artwork is it's very pastels, and then just looking at the synopsis, terrorist talking dog, idealist mage, and heroic lab rat. I'm like,
You have previews up on your phone now?
I couldn't remember what. Who,
well, that's cool. I should have.
Yeah.
That's what I should be doing to remind myself of what's coming up.
Right.
Sorry, I cheated.
Oh no! That was smart.
That looked interesting. Have you looked at Snowblind at all? It's only a 4-issue series.
That's good. I've read the first actually 2 issues.
Oh, you're ahead of me.
Well, okay. Well, at one point we had considered reviewing that on an episode, and so the publisher, and I think it's Boom.
Yeah.
Is it Boom? Yeah.
Boom's been putting out good
sent
Yes,
me
they have.
not only the first issue in PDF before it came out, but also the second. And we ended up not talking about it, but I liked it. I like where it was going.
If
Yeah.
it's a short series, I'd definitely have to check out the trade.
Yeah, and it's got a really cool kind of watercolor art style about it.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like, I just want to hang out in the library, this teenage boy says. He's like, no, son, you must go out and be a man and do manly things. And one antic of shenanigans and your world just spins out of control. So,
That's how it all happens when you meet the superhero / supervillain.
well, there's nothing super. It's just really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's more, I guess, slice of life than it would be any kind of superhero. There's nothing super. It's just
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, a slice of life to a degree, but
Yeah.
we're dealing with the Witness Protection Program and a really interesting twist on it.
Yeah,
And I think the
yeah.
really interesting twist, if I remember correctly, comes in that second issue.
Huh.
which I haven't read yet. I don't want to give too much away, but then again, I don't know too much about it because I still haven't read the second issue.
Well,
I will.
I wanted to bring up in 2015, a colorful superhero issue was Plutona. Was actually really good.
Oh yeah, that's what's his name?
Jeff Lemire.
Thank you.
Right, and that is another one that I think when it was originally solicited, we didn't know that it was a limited series, but then after, and I can't remember how many issues it ended up being.
It's 4, I think.
Was it 4 or
Was
5?
it only 4?
Only
Yeah,
4?
It's only 4
Wow.
issues.
But they ended that, and I mean, I know that that's something that Image tends to do, and in fact, late last year, I did an interview with Ed Brisson, and we talked about that phenomena, especially at Image. And he admitted that it is something that creators do. It's a strategic move, right? Because they're afraid that if something is limited, people will just wait for the trade. As we've mentioned a couple of times, you guys say, "Okay, I can't wait for the trade to come out."
Right.
But it's because of that they don't announce that this is a limited series,
Fair enough.
so
That
that
makes sense.
until toward the end. And even though I can understand that from the creator's point of view, of course they want to sell comics, and I don't blame them. If let's say you're 3 issues in, and on that 4th one they say, "Okay, we're going to end it after 4 or even 5 issues," and then the trade. So, well, why couldn't you tell me this before? I could it's more economically feasible by waiting for the trade.
Is it really that less profitable to just go straight to a trade?
Yeah.
I would totally buy just a straight up book without any.
When you
comics
add
popping
up
out.
the money, it's like just a couple bucks difference, including.
Are you talking
tax.
about for the creator though?
Yeah, for the creator. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
single issues?
Yeah,
versus
from what I understand, I mean that's something that selling single issues helps to provide, I guess, quote unquote, a steady income, or at least some income while the series is being created. In other words, if someone holds on to everything and publishes it all at once, like say the trade,
Yeah.
then they aren't making anything along the way during the act of completing the story. But yet,
sense.
if they do it as an ongoing or a limited series, then they could, they're going to be making some money, maybe not bukus, but some money with each successive installment or issue. And then when the trade comes out, then they get more. And for some titles and some creators, the collections, the trades, and sometimes even the hardbound collections, like the Omnibuy, are more profitable for them than others. I know that. I've heard. I'm trying to think of creators who have said this now, but that the money really is in the deluxe or omnibus editions for them.
Which I find really challenging to sell.
Tim Seeley
because
has
they're
said
so
that's right. Tim
expensive.
Seeley has said that before. He's either said it on the show or he said it to my co-host Andy, and Andy's told me that especially with Hack Slash, that he was making okay with the individual issues, but with the trades and then especially with the deluxe editions, that's where he tended to make his money. But again, you need something along the way before you get to that point of the collected story.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other, not so much, I was about to say predictions, any other titles or events or occurrences that you may be looking forward to when it comes to comics in 2016? And no one has mentioned the Batman Superman movie.
Yeah, I'm more excited for, once again, not Civil War in the comics, but Civil War in the movies, just because I really trust the Russos from Captain America 2, which was like a political thriller superhero movie, which was like, I didn't know I needed this genre in my life, but I really liked it. But yeah, Batman Superman, it's like, I'm most excited for Wonder Woman.
Right. Are they going to cover comic versions of the movies before they come out?
Or what now?
I thought that's what you meant. I thought
like a prequel comic? Or like
Yeah,
a Marvel-
prequel comics
Marvel
like they
does
did
that,
for
but I don't
Gods
know if DC is going to do that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I thought, honestly, I thought Man of Steel was,
Yeah, that's fair.
It was,
I
yeah.
got frustrated by Paul Kent going under the bridge in a tornado, or everyone going under the bridge in a tornado, and me from Texas being like,
you're all dead.
Yeah, the dog was the
you're dead.
safest.
You're dead. That guy out in the field, that's the safest.
So yeah, that movie was I agree with you on that.
Yeah, well, see, I had a problem with the And I think a lot of this was due to the 3D. I didn't see the 3D version.
I didn't
don't
either.
do
But
that.
it was all of the special effects and the destruction and all. It just after a while, it's like, okay, enough. Just give me a story. Don't
Destruction
give me
made
the
me
special
really
effects.
uncomfortable too, because I think there's one point where you see someone screaming before they're slammed in the ground. I'm like, I didn't need that today.
Yeah. But the thing about this new movie, I'm not a fan of Ben Affleck, so I'm wondering what is he going to do to Batman?
gonna
And he
have
could
a
be
hard
good
time
for
with
all I
that,
know.
too. Yeah, I've just never been a fan of Ben Affleck. No offense.
In
to
the
man,
trailers,
but-
he seems like rough and emo enough to
Like,
play
he seems
Batman.
like he could work, but it's like-
Bruce Wayne.
What's with the voice?
He's trying to do the Batman where he has to
Bale.
lower the octaves like 20 times.
Yeah, who decided that Batman has to have like
I blame
Christian
Batman
Bale?
Begins for that.
Damn it, Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Well, as far as if we're on different medias, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next season of Daredevil. And a whole bunch of new characters are being introduced.
Yeah, you got.
When will that start?
Soon.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
Did they
it's-
say March?
I think
Yeah, I think
March.
they
Yeah.
had a date
Because
on
this comes out right next to whenever the Batman versus Superman
Yeah, it's the
comes
same
out.
weekend as
It's
Batman
that same,
Superman.
yeah, the same
Wow.
week.
Yeah.
And yeah, they got the Punisher coming out, which I'm a huge
Electra.
fan, and Electra.
Well, I know you're a fan of
Yeah.
Punisher. You have your Punisher
I do
shirt
have
on
a
right
Punisher
now.
shirt
One
on,
of your
but yeah,
many, I'm
we
sure.
also have Electra, and I'm just I loved that show. So season 1 was amazing. I can't wait for season.
It was. I really enjoyed Daredevil. I didn't know where men 8. 7 just came out today.
Yeah, but we've waited like 2 years.
That's true.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
Okay, so that's one of the things you're looking forward
I
to.
squeed when I saw it.
Swede.
You know, like
It's an exclamation of excitement.
But back to Daredevil. I mean, yeah, that was a really good series. But what I enjoyed even more than Daredevil was Jessica Jones.
Jessica
That was
Jones
good.
was amazing. I loved it too.
Strong opening, fantastic middle. The ending kind of dropped off for me.
Really?
Especially the last episode, the final fight. There was just too many things that I didn't understand why they did it. Especially with Patsy, going into the station. I was like, why did she do that? Why couldn't they both just start sneaking around?
Because Patsy Walker is crazy.
Yes,
Patsy
I get
Walker,
that.
okay.
They have to prove that Patsy Walker's brave, but she's already
No, they just have to prove that she's crazy, and she already is.
yeah.
yeah, we know.
Someone in the comics that was like, marrying the son of the devil's a great idea. Right.
And with Daredevil, they're gonna introduce a whole bunch of characters that they didn't even advertise in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in Jessica Jones, we have Captain Nuke.
Oh, yes, his name is something
yes.
like that, where he has an
Yeah.
American flag
Yes.
tattooed on his face.
That's a terrible choice.
I know.
Yeah, the Simpson
He
guy.
doesn't on the show, but
The what?
I can't remember his first name, but something
So-
Simpson.
it's Patsy Walker's boyfriend on the show.
Oh,
Yeah, he becomes
the-
a supervillain.
Okay,
becomes
that
a
doesn't surprise me. I was
boyfriend.
wondering what
Yes.
was going to happen with that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that was a story that they just kind of left,
that's going to be.
but I
season two.
guess purposefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's
But
going to be
yes,
interesting.
That's awesome. I'm super excited that she also got a season 2.
He gonna introduce the super soldier program.
He's going to, well, if we're going by the comic books, he's going to get. He's not necessarily. He gets into the super soldier program because they want to recreate Captain America.
Right.
And of course they get it wrong.
As often happens.
And as often happens, of course they get it wrong, but they keep him around because even though he's bat crap crazy, for lack of a word,
Right.
he tattoos the flag onto his face.
Kind of like that guy several years ago who supported Romney.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't hear about
We got
him.
that. You didn't hear about? He tattooed the
Yes.
red, white, and blue Romney symbol on the side of
no.
his
Poor
face.
life
Yes.
choices.
Didn't he do it for money?
Yeah,
Which he probably used to get it removed.
But why would you do something like that to your face?
I have no idea.
He
That was
he goes crazy in the comics and
Yeah.
in the series. You saw that little bit of delusional.
Right.
Well,
So full of regret.
Well, his brain kind of lapses for a second there, where he repeats himself after 2 seconds. He's like, "Go," and then go talk to Jessica Jones, and then Patsy looks at him funny, like, "Did you just record skip yourself?"
Right? It's like, there's something
Yeah.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
You stay the hell back.
And I think that company that they start, Patsy's investigates at the very end, IGH, that's somehow going to turn into AIM at one point.
Well, I think we already
like
had
that.
AIM
Yeah.
in Iron Man. It was just disappointing. It was just a name
Yeah,
drop.
I know.
Yeah, but
There
they're all
needs to
part
be
of the same
something more,
universe.
Yeah,
They
it would be
can-
nice if they actually used AIM as AIM.
Well, bye,
Sabrina.
Sabrina.
Well, bye, Sabrina. In fact,
Sabrina's
we're
leaving
just
us without a word.
In fact, we're just getting ready to wrap up. So before you leave, Sabrina, if you could tell our listeners something that I forgot to at the top of the show, and that is if they're in the area and they want to come by and check out Collected in Plano, where can they come?
You may need to give them
Well,
directions.
Oh God, we lost our sign. We don't have a sign.
Well, the sign was Lone Star, so
Yeah, but still, now people think we're either brand new or shutting down.
Yeah.
And
You're a shadow on the wall.
It is, we are a shadow, a sad shadow, until we get a new sign up, which I have no idea when that's happening.
Well,
But
actually, that was an invitation for you to give the address. I mean, I'll give it if you
yeah,
want.
it's 3100 Independence Parkway, and we are Suite 318.
We're in
and-
the parking lot with Tom Thumb.
Indeed.
And you're going to want to drive past them. Tom Thumb in
right,
the parking lot.
right next to the Indian. What's the Indian restaurant?
Kasari.
And then on the other side, we're right by Kasari, and then on the other side of us is Elmdale Jewelers, so we're that empty spot between them.
Yes. And before you come to get your comics, the Indian restaurant is very good.
Yeah,
So
they're
there
very
you
good.
go.
And also the pho is good.
Yeah, the pho down the way is good as well.
So you can tank up, get some great food, and then come get comics.
Yeah, and then maybe go buy some groceries, because never buy groceries on a stomach, because you'll just buy nothing but Pop-Tarts.
That's right.
That's true.
Okay, well, I want to thank you guys for being part of the show. It's great to be back, and I hope that we can continue doing this, Sabrina,
Yes.
Definitely.
on a month-by-month basis. Get back into the swing of things. Again, it's been 6 months since we've done an on-location show. Again, Stephanie, it's nice to meet you.
Good to meet
Matt,
you.
Craig, thank you again for being on the show, and
Of course.
Sabrina for inviting us back. So if you want to find out more about the Comics Alternative, and if you have suggestions for future on-location shows, for instance, if you want me to tell Matt and Craig just to shut up, I will. Contact us and let it, or have them tell me to shut up. Then you can get in touch and let us know what to tell each other. If you go to the website comicsalternative.com, you'll see that you can leave us a voice message, really easy to do, through SpeakPipe, or you can call us the old-fashioned way. The phone number is 415-3-COMICS. That is 415-326-6427. You can also email us, as many of you do. We appreciate that. We're two guys at comicsalternative.com. You can contact me directly. I'm Derek at comicsalternative.com. You can also find us on Twitter. We're at the number 2 guys with PhDs. Thank you, everyone who continues to retweet our tweets. You can also find us other places in social media land, such as Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, Google+, Pinterest, and YouTube. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You can stream us on Stitcher. You can also find us on TuneIn. And, of course, you can find every single one of our episodes, as well as the reviews and the comics-related commentary that we post on our blog. And that's at our website, which is comicsalternative.com. So there are all those ways of getting in touch with us. We want to hear from you. And again, thank you guys for being part of this on-location show. Let's have more successful, eventful, fan-filled conversation in the months to come.
Yes.
Huzzah!